Hey guys, Sleepy here, and welcome to another episode of my weekly playlist. It's Friday, so it's time for me to let you guys know about the games that I'm playing this week. Let you guys know my opinions, my thoughts on them, whether I think you guys should check them out or not. Of course, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the games I share with you today. If you played them before, let me know what you thought of them. Maybe there's something you liked about them, maybe there's something you didn't like about them. If there's any games you guys think I would enjoy playing, let me know. I'm always looking for recommendations and new games to play and experience. And let me know about the games you guys have been playing, as you guys do get me interested in a lot of games. I love hearing about the games you guys are playing, as you guys have recommended and told me about some fantastic games that I have tried. So I do appreciate those. So keep letting me know about the games you're playing and keep the recommendations coming. Now this week, I just have one game to share with you guys, as I've just been busy with work and got other stuff going on. But I did manage to put some time in this week with a game that I rented from Gamefly called The Callisto Protocol. It's a survival horror game that I've been interested in playing since launch, but I just did not want to spend the money at the time because, you know, it was Christmas time and I wanted to save that money for Christmas gifts and other important stuff. So I decided that I'd eventually get it later on, and I decided to rent it from Gamefly, and it actually just came in on Wednesday, and so I played it a few hours after work. I got it in the mail and installed it, and then I also played it yesterday on Thursday for a little while as well, and got several hours into the game, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Now, since I have it rented, I don't have the actual game case to hold and show you guys. I just have the little sleeve, but I'll read you guys a little excerpt about the game. So, in this narrative-driven third-person survival horror game set 300 years in the future, the player will take on the role of Jacob Lee, a victim of fate thrown into Black Iron Prison, a maximum security penitentiary located on Jupiter's moon, Callisto. When inmates begin to transform into monstrous creatures, the prison is thrown into chaos. To survive, Jacob must battle his way to safety to escape Black Iron Prison, while uncovering the dark and disturbing secrets beneath the surface of Callisto. So, let's check it out. Hey friends, Sleepy here, and today we're taking a look at the game, The Callisto Protocol. Now this is a survival horror game that was created by the co-creator of Dead Space, that Glenn Schofield guy. That's supposed to be a spiritual successor to the Dead Space series, and I'm a massive fan of the Dead Space games. I've loved them ever since I played that original one, so I was really excited to play this one. I had originally planned to buy this day one, but since it released in December of last year, you know, I was more focused on getting Christmas gifts and other stuff for family and friends, that I didn't want to spend the money at the time, and I figured I'd pick it up down the road. Well, after it launched, you know, I had heard a lot of negative and bad things about this game. You know, the game was plagued with bugs and performance issues, graphical stuff, game-breaking bugs. People weren't really that into the combat of the game, and people had really high expectations, and a lot of people felt that the game didn't live up to them, and so I saw that the game got a lot of hate. So I decided, you know, I'd like to rent this from Gamefly first for me to try it out and see how I enjoy it, because I can't always, you know, rely on what other people say about a game. You know, at the end of the day, I like to actually play a game and experience it for myself, as there's games that are critically hated by everyone that I found really enjoyable. But then on the other hand, there's also games that everybody said they loved and I played, and I just found them to be absolutely boring and uninteresting for me. So I decided I wanted to rent this from Gamefly, but I had to wait till they had some copies available to rent. And so I just got this yesterday on Wednesday, and I started playing it for a few hours after work when I got home. and I'm enjoying it so far. And so the basic idea of the story of this game is, because it is a survival horror, is you play as this main character, Jacob Lee, and you are a guy that transports goods between the Callisto moon and Europa moon. So these are moons of Jupiter, and you work for this black iron company that owns these. And as you're transporting some materials that are unknown, I'm sure later on if you play the game you figure out what it is, this terrorist group boards your ship and causes you to crash land on Callisto, where they have this black iron prison. Well, the black iron prison guards rescue you from your ship, but then they make you become a prisoner of the prison, and then you get processed, and then the game takes a place where you wake up and all hell is broke loose in the prison, and there's inmates infected with this biophage virus that's mutating into the crazy creatures and stuff, and now you have to get the hell out of here and survive, and that's where the story takes place. So let's check it out. Oh, hold on guys, I meant to load an older save where I actually have some combat stuff that I can share with you guys. Now you guys know I'm not one that likes to ruin story or anything, so I'm not going to go any deeper into what happens in the game. But I will say that in the beginning of the game though, as you play through the beginning, it acts as a tutorial and teaches you the game's mechanics and stuff. Now first off, this is the Xbox Series X version. There is an Xbox One version that was released later on. So I'm playing on my Xbox Series X, and I'm playing it in 4K on my 4K TV, and you can see that the graphics look pretty damn good. Character models look really good, like you can see sweat on his body, and he can get covered in blood. It looks really cool. He has a health indicator on the back of his neck that's surgically implanted at this prison, so that's really cool. So it tells you like why he has this display of health on him. Like, you know, the game gives you an in-game lore reason of why it's on there. So far, the beginning of this game is all about melee combat. There are guns I know you can get later on, but right now it's all about melee combat. Overall, I'd say the graphics do look amazing. However, if you guys do look at the fire, it does look kind of like 2D flat graphics. I didn't know other people had mentioned the fire isn't the best looking in games. Fire is something that is really hard to do in video games. If you look really close at it, it can look kind of bad, but from a distance, it's not too bad. I do love the overall color and lighting in this. You know, it's really dark colors and kind of freaky, and it does really remind me a lot of the first Alien movie. I love that movie and that movie's atmosphere, and I get that same kind of vibes, creepy vibes here with the yellows and the orange and red hues and the black of the metal around. Just feels like a cold and like sterile, unfriendly environment, and that's kind of how space movies always feel for me. So that's the kind of feeling I get in this game, which I really like. You do have a little menu here that you can bring by hitting up on the D-pad, and you keep track of your weapons. There's health stuff you can find, but you are limited to how much stuff you can carry. There's some contraband items. You also have an in-game currency credits you can find. And then there's also these data bios, so there are some collectibles you can find of logs and stuff from different characters that you maybe will encounter and give you information about them and logs that they leave, so there are stuff to collect as well. I do know that this game takes like 10 to 14 hours to beat, just depending on your own skill and the difficulty setting, because there are 3 difficulty settings. You got a normal, medium, and then like a hard. I'm playing on medium, and even on the medium difficulty, combat and stuff has been pretty difficult for me at times as I'm learning the mechanics of the game, because the big thing in this game is learning to dodge enemy attacks, because this is not one of those, you're not a John Rambo guy, you know, running through here, super powered up, knocking dudes out left and right. You know, you're just a regular average Joe. So like, I would compare your character to like a normal human in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, where in other games, you know, you might be a space marine that's, you know, super powered up and kicking ass and stuff. You're just a regular dude with regular abilities trying to survive in this hell. And I like that because it adds to the atmosphere, and there are some jump scare moments and some parts that'll freak you out because it is a horror game. And as you're playing through, you know, it really does freak you out to explore, and combat is not something you look forward to. You know, it makes you always worried about what's around the next corner, what next creature are you going to fight. Now, there are some stealth stuff you can do in this game when you notice enemies, is you can crouch and sneak behind them and do an instant kill move, which I'm going to try to do with this enemy here, but you got to be careful with the timing, because if he sees you, he's going to come after you. I do like the controls. There's all kinds of stuff you can change in the settings and menu. You can also put on some aim assists and other assists where the game will help you with dodging and stuff. But I kept that all off as I wanted to be the one to do this kind of stuff. So now, let's try to get to him and stealth kill this idiot. See, now it's going to alert that guy. Now we're going to get into the actual combat. And sometimes the enemies will block and counter moves that you do to them. So when you're fighting in combat and stuff, you have to dodge by hitting either right or left. Now, if you dodge right the first time and the guy attacks you, you now have to dodge the left time, because if you do it the same right and then right again, he's going to anticipate your move and attack you that way. And you only have so much health, and these guys pack a wallop. And they really hit hard, and it doesn't take long for you to die, because I've died a few times. You can see he has his health indicator on the back there. Another interesting thing, you know, brought over from Dead Space is stomping on bodies to get items that are randomly generated from them, whether it might be like ammo, or it might be credits, or it might be a health item or whatever. You know, stomping on enemies after you kill them is important. Now, you can't just go around and stomp bodies you find in the world. You can stomp on them, but it does absolutely nothing. You won't find anything. You do have these little health injectors, but while you're injecting yourself with health like that, you are vulnerable to being attacked. So you have to be careful with getting health for your character and like healing, because it's kind of hard to heal in the middle of combat. The character can also run and stuff, and as you run through the world, you know, you will find things that you can open up, lockers and loot crates, and these little stations that have the health injectors, which you can only hold so much. I'm not sure if later on you can like upgrade your inventory, you can hold more, but right now I can only hold a few health injectors. And there's not just those biophage creatures either. There are security robots that they use here in this Black Iron prison. And then here's where you can listen to some audio logs that you will find a collectible. And it does have really good voice acting, you guys can hear.
I can't figure him out. There's more changes in months to Black Iron seen in decades. Still, whatever's going on, couldn't find anything my chance. I just gotta be ready.
Personal log, Dr. Caitlin Marler. Arrived at Black Iron today. Met Cole for the first time. Authorized me to restart the program. It won't be easy, but I trust in my team. They, as I, understand the promise here. Opportunities that I know.
So I like the variety of voice actors they have for the different characters, and I feel that they fit the characters especially because they did model a lot of these game characters off of, based upon the likeness of the actors themselves. So that really makes that fit the characters really well. And it's a game I'm really enjoying. Now, am I going to say it's the best game in the world? Of course not. There are some issues with it that even I noticed. You can do what these are manual saves. However, it actually only makes a save at the last checkpoint, which was 8 minutes ago. So there are some issues even I had where I was going through a difficult section and I died, and I had to redo that whole entire section over again because of the checkpoint system. You know, it is something that's kind of flawed. This game does suffer from some of those old saving mechanics, which people really wish they would have let you save at any point at any time. There's one of those security robots I was talking about. He's just damaged, but they're really crazy, and you have to avoid them because those guys are super strong. But you know, when I was playing, I can understand why the developers didn't want you to be able to save any point, as it might break the immersion and stuff. But I think they should have had a better save feature in it. Like maybe we're like Dead Space had those specific areas where you could save in. I think would have been a better system. So it's definitely something they should tweak. Now I know too, people complained about the ending of this game, that it kind of ends abruptly because they have DLC planned. There is a season pass for it, so I can understand why people are upset about that. But I'm enjoying the game so far. Like I said, I've rented it here from GameFly, and I'm probably gonna end up keeping it. And it's gonna end up costing me only about $20-some, as they have it on sale right now for like 20 or 22 bucks. And so I'm gonna keep playing this, but this definitely is probably one that I'll eventually add to my collection. It's one I think you guys should give a try. Just know though that it's not Dead Space. It plays a lot different than Dead Space. There are some similar mechanics, but it is its own game and its own world and stuff. And I'm really enjoying the story, and I think you guys should check out the Callisto Protocol. I hope you guys enjoyed that look at Callisto. Now, I shared that gameplay, early gameplay at the very beginning of the game, and I have really been enjoying it. Now, of course, it's not the best game in the world. There are some flaws to it, like I had mentioned in that gameplay clip, that the saving is really annoying, especially if you going through a difficult part and you die and you have to redo it and go through all those same enemies again. It's really annoying, so that is definitely something that maybe they could fix down the road, but I don't know if they really could with the way the game is made. But overall, I'm really enjoying it. I like that the game is different from Dead Space. It plays similar, but not completely. You know, it has its own combat mechanics. You know, it's all about dodging enemies and using the environment to your advantage, and you can't just go in there and just swing in and hacking and slashing away because you're not a super Rambo character. You know, you're a regular guy, so you have to be smart about your attacks and being smart about dodging and reading your enemies' movements and stuff, and master that in order to master the combat. And you know, I've missed some dodges and been knocked out, and you can get killed really quickly. Like I said, I mentioned it, you know, I'm only playing on the medium difficulty, but I've already had enemies like attacking me, and just a few hits from them can actually destroy you and kill you. So I really like that the game is really brutal. I love how violent it is. It's bloody, gory. I saw that it was actually banned in Japan because they said it was too violent for the country, and the developers refused to make a version that was toned down, which is something I like. You know, I love that it's really brutal and violent, and that's how you feel about the combat. And when you're playing in the game, you know, you yourself feel vulnerable. Like, I'm going through it, I'm like, God, what the fuck am I gonna run into next? Like, geez, gotta be careful exploring. You know, you really feel freaked out exploring because you don't feel like a Rambo dude, a Space Marine guy. You know, you just feel like how the fuck you would feel in real life if you were in that situation. So you get filled with a sense of dread, like what's coming up next. So, you know, what new enemy am I gonna encounter? So it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and I really love those elements while playing through the game. I saw that they added some new game modes. There's like a hardcore mode where the game's even more difficult and less health, less resources, enemies do more damage. But then there's also another mode that's an easier mode where you yourself are powered up more. So I like that they are adding stuff to the game. And then there's also that season pass. So once I beat the game, you know, I'm gonna look into maybe buying the season pass. It is $30, but the nice thing with the Microsoft and Sony and stuff is there's always those sales they have randomly throughout the year, 50% off, 60, 70% off. So, you know, I might wait for a sale on that season pass and buy it and then play through the DLC, because I do know there were some complaints people had that the story kind of ended abruptly because they wanted to continue in DLC, and some people felt like, oh, well, you know, I didn't really get the full experience, you know, they kept the ending out so that you would have to pay for it in DLCs. I don't know if that's how it is, you know, because I haven't beat the game yet, but, you know, if you have a well-crafted story that you can play for your 8, 10, 12, 14 hours, and then they expand upon that, I think that's a good thing. So I'm really enjoying the Callisto Protocol. I'll be talking about it next week as well. Hopefully I'll have it beat by next week, but we'll just have to see with the time I have available. I am filming this clip here pretty early on Friday morning. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look at Callisto Protocol. Let me know your guys' thoughts if you guys have played it or not. I'd also like to hear about the games you guys are currently playing, and if you have a recommendation of a game you think I might enjoy, let me know, as I'm always looking for new games to play and experience. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you next time.